arrest of Susan Baker in the baby Shannon case has given investigators some new hope in one of their cold cases. You'll find out why.
Also, what's to keep a riot from breaking out at one of the 14 prisons here in the Panhandle? Well, these folks may be the only defense.
And even more fishermen will be out this weekend trying to let people know about their latest threat, more fishing limits.
From WJHG, coverage you can count on. This is News Channel 7 at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nisa Wilkins.
And I'm Tom Lewis. Welcome to News Channel 7 at 6 o'clock. The entire world was watching this week as the search for 7-month-old Shannon Diedrich came to a successful conclusion Wednesday night. One group of people watching more closely than most, members of the Beaufort County, South Carolina Sheriff's Office. It appears that they will now be reopening the case of 3-year-old Paul Baker, who was reported missing back in 1987. His babysitter put him down for a nap, and he was never seen again. The babysitter was a stepmother, Susan Baker, the woman who is now charged in the baby Shannon case. As Holly Bounds explains, South Carolina investigators are hoping that the case down here will provide new leads for the 22-year-old mystery there.
Sight of 7-month-old Shannon Diedrich Thursday was an overwhelming joy, combined with admitted feelings of shock from those who've come to know the woman who babysat the child.
It was a surprise the child was found alive.
Though it was 22 years ago, Sheriff P.J. Tanner and Solicitor Duffy Stone certainly haven't forgotten the character of the woman who was questioned in the disappearance of her stepson, 3-year-old Paul Baker of Beaufort.
She's a wicked person. That's about as nice as I can be.
But in 2000, a grand jury decided there was not enough evidence for the case to be considered for trial.
In 2000, it was not worth rolling the dice.
A decision then that could put them in a good spot now, being able to do more if new evidence is developed through what's happened in Florida.
In South Carolina, we don't have a statute of limitations. There's nothing that prevents us from bringing charges if Detective Beard comes back with some information that can help. To this date, we still do not know what happened to the child, and that makes it very difficult to prosecute. But we are free to prosecute if we receive information and we've received credible evidence.
Baker did spend 80 days in jail in South Carolina for what was termed assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature. That was for assaulting another of her children. Sheriff Tanner up in South Carolina says there is no new information regarding Paul Baker's disappearance at this time.
Reaction to the Fort Hood soldier killings is coming in from all over the world. The Department of Defense released this video of soldiers being deployed to the scene of yesterday's shootings. The death toll now stands at 13 people. Another died overnight. At least 30 others were wounded. The gunman, Major Nadal Malik Hassan, is still in the hospital. He's still unconscious and remains on a ventilator. Locally, the Bay County Islamic Society is condemning the killings.
Number one, it's a terrible crime. Number two, the attacker happened to be of Muslim faith. And number three, he's an MD, and I'm a doctor too. He's a psychiatrist, and he's supposed to treat people with post-traumatic stress syndrome and other psychiatric illnesses. And it's sad and tragic that he, instead of helping people, he killed people yesterday.
Some say they are considering this to be a terrorist attack. With 14 prisons in our area, the corrections industry is big business in the Panhandle. Most of the time, life behind the walls is business as usual. But what happens when a riot breaks out? As News Channel 7's Megan O'Halloran tells us, the Region 1 Rapid Response Team spent today at the Holmes County Fairgrounds preparing for that possibility.
Imagine a group of unruly inmates plotting an escape from prison. The Department of Corrections is doing all it can to prevent that from happening.
We work in an environment that's unpredictable, and any event like that can happen at a moment's notice. And so what we've got to do is be prepared for the what ifs. If it were to happen, what would we do? And we're certainly prepared for that.
Y'all have got 10 minutes to develop a plan on how y'all want to do it.
The Rapid Response Team deploys during emergency situations, like Friday's scenario where team members had to rescue an injured officer and disperse a prison riot. They practice using a wide range of tactics, from crowd control to less than lethal specialty impact. And it's a force to be reckoned with. The nature of a corrections officer's job puts them in potentially dangerous environments. They learn to depend on each other, anticipating each other's reactions, as evidenced by the Region 1 motto, "You never walk alone."
We have to come together every year to make sure that we all operate in the same manner and that we're familiar with all situations and can coexist with any squad.
Each rapid response team member trains regularly and must meet strict fitness requirements. But the job requires a combination of abilities.
A quality of leadership. It's physically demanding, mentally and physically demanding, being in a situation like that. So it's very, very important to be in your top shape at all times.
It's presence, a show of force.
In Bonifay, Megan O'Halloran, News Channel 7.
All of the 14 area prisons participate in this joint training exercise at least once a year.
Our tropical depression Ida has reemerged back over across the Caribbean. As we talked about, was a possibility yesterday. As far as where that storm is right now, just making its way just off the coastline of Honduras. It does have winds right now of 35 miles an hour. The forecast is still for this storm to intensify at least somewhat over the days ahead. Widen out the perspective. You can still see it's a long ways away from the Florida Panhandle, more than 1,000 miles away at this point. The forecast track as we go throughout the next 5 days does intensify back into a tropical storm, moving back over, possibly over the Yucatan Peninsula. Now, this is where things get kind of dicey. Notice it goes up to the north. It's kind of like an uh-oh heading up toward the northern Gulf Coast. Then it does an abrupt right turn. What we're thinking is it's going to merge with an old frontal boundary and kind of become an extra tropical system that's going to turn this storm system more to the right as it loses its tropical characteristics. Still, as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday time frame, look at the yellow up there. That indicates that it's still possibly up into the Florida Panhandle as far as the cone of uncertainty. So we still need to watch this system over the days ahead, although right now you can see never really getting much higher than about a 45 or 50 mile per hour tropical storm. Here tonight, gorgeous weather. Temperatures dropping down through the 50s. Expect 40s as you head farther inland. We'll have that weekend forecast for you in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Chris. Earlier this week, we showed you a protest rally at Fort Walton Beach where more than 100 people showed up to condemn the National Marine Fisheries Service decision to close amberjack seasons with almost no warning. And some are afraid that the red snapper season could be next. So those protests will actually continue this weekend. But as News Channel 7's Josh Gann tells us, this time the fishermen are taking to the water.
Many fishermen in our area tell us they're afraid they won't survive these new fishing restrictions. If you're a fisherman in our area, then you already know the challenges the industry is currently facing with the closure of the amberjack season. Bob Zales is a second-generation fisherman who's worked the Gulf for more than 40 years.
The overfishing requirement is killing us all.
Late last month, the National Marine Fisheries announced Florida fishermen had reached the yearly quota of amberjack. Zales, along with longtime fisherman Tommy Rice, aren't arguing about the quota system, but they don't believe the Fisheries Service's numbers are a true reflection of what's really in the water. They point out to the possible red snapper season closure as an example.
In the 40 years I've been doing this, I have never seen as many snapper. Anywhere you stop, you catch red snapper.
These docks are already starting to feel the effects of the closure.
It's putting us out of business. It's not only affecting the commercial fleet and the for-hire fleet by putting us out of business. It's affecting the recreational angler because they don't know when they can go fishing. They don't know what they can go fishing for.
Zales says fishermen all over the country are being affected by the Magnuson-Stevens Fishery Conservation and Management Act, which deals with overfishing. According to law, overfishing must stop by 2010.
The trickle-down effect of what the end result of this overfishing deal is going to be all about is going to just devastate everybody, especially with the economic times the way they are right now.
Saturday, hundreds of fishermen are expected to storm south of the Hathaway Bridge for the Panama City Fishermen's Rally, which stretches from Panama City to Mexico Beach. Zales hopes Congress will take note.
So we're trying to get the message to Congress that we need help. The law is just overly restrictive.
In St. Andrews, Josh Gann, News Channel 7.
They'll also be doing the same thing over in Destin, Fort Walton Beach. The Panama City Fishermen's Rally will start at 10 a.m. and will run until noon on the south side of Hathaway Bridge. After the rally, there will be a fish fry at Gracie Ray's Bar and Grill in St. Andrews.
Well, these may not look like remarkable sporting feats to most people, but they are huge accomplishments for these folks. You'll find out about this unique Olympic competition.
And officials at a local school have some big plans for a nice-sized corporate grant.
You're watching News Channel 7 at 6. Coverage you can count on with Tom Lewis, Misa Wilkins, weather with Chris Smith, and sports with Scott Rossman.
Hi, folks who can't afford to pay.
From Gulf Coast hurricanes to tornado outbreaks, News Channel 7 Today meteorologist Jim Losnica has covered it all. His knowledge of Gulf Coast weather is why people choose his precise and reliable forecast every morning. When you want today's weather forecast right now, meteorologist Jim Losnica is weather coverage you can count on. Go to WJHG.com to sign up for free text alerts. Just click on 7 on your cell to register for the alerts you want, only on WJHG.com. You're watching News Channel 7, streaming live on our web channel at WJHG.com.
Recovering from a brain injury can be one of the biggest challenges anyone will ever face. Today, Second Chance of Northwest Florida held its first Special Olympics for their clients who are recovering from brain injuries. Second Chance of Northwest Florida provides retraining and relearning programs for people who have suffered traumatic and acquired brain injuries through accidents or medical events such as strokes. The recovery process takes a lot of time, structure, and consistency to achieve success. Today's competition included bowling, frisbee, and beanbag tossing, plus other games designed to enhance previously damaged motor skills.
Well, our goal is to really help integrate them back into the community after their injuries. So we work on a lot of skills in the classroom in doing that, trying to attain that goal.
We heard somebody talking about Second Chance, and I was so bored at home, you know, so I thought I'd check it out. And the people are wonderful there. I just love everybody.
For more information about Second Chance programs, you can call 769-7779.
New Horizons Learning Center will be using a big grant from AT&T to make some valuable upgrades. AT&T officials presented the $48,000 grant today to fund basic literacy programs, upgrade the school's media and television facilities, and the computer-based math program, Fast Math. New Horizons gives troubled students a second chance and an education, and school officials say this money will help the students achieve their dreams.
So between the basics of math, the basics of reading, and the basics of how to get a job and keep a job, this grant is going to make a significant difference in the lives of our students.
Now, the grant will also allow mentors and other business partners to provide videos of vital job skills, including tips for conducting a successful job interview.
Well, we're off to a great start for the weekend.
Will the weather hold out through Sunday, though? Chris's forecast is next.
News Channel 7's VIPIR is brought to you in part by our community partner, Panama City Toyota, where relationships are born. Hear VIPIR 7 Weather Center updates on Clear Channel radio stations, including 92.5 WPAP.
Papa's in the house. Introducing Papa John's new 6 Meats Pizza, loaded with 6 delicious meats. For a limited time, get a large 6 Meats Pizza or a large 6 Cheese Pizza. Your choice, just $10.99.
Anyone can learn to dance, so take the lead with the area's newest 6,000 square foot dance studio, Dance Life Fitness in Panama City Beach. From ballroom dance classics like the waltz and tango to East Coast swing and hip hop, we offer dance classes for all ages and all lifestyles. If you have a special event coming up, we can give you all the right moves to make your wedding or anniversary something that your family and friends will remember for a lifetime. Join us for dance fitness classes where you can shake and shimmy your way to a healthier, happier you. Put on your dancing shoes and get in the groove with Dance Life Fitness today.
You found the woman of your dreams. Why not give the ring of hers? Only at Creative Gems.
Here is tonight's NBC primetime lineup. Brought to you by the Florida Lottery.
Papa's in the house. Introducing Papa John's new 6 Meats Pizza, loaded with 6 delicious meats. For a limited time, get a large 6 Meats Pizza or a large 6 Cheese Pizza. Your choice, just $10.99.
From Gulf Coast hurricanes to tornado outbreaks, News Channel 7 Today meteorologist Jim Losnica has covered it all. His knowledge of Gulf Coast weather is why people choose his precise and reliable forecast every morning. When you want today's weather forecast right now, meteorologist Jim Losnica is weather coverage you can count on. From the VIPIR 7 Weather Center, here is Chief Meteorologist Chris Smith.
We continue to keep our eye on the tropics late in this tropical season here in the beginning of November with Tropical Depression Ida moving toward the Gulf of Mexico. Let's go ahead and show you the very latest. Here we have our latest satellite picture. New advisory will be coming out here shortly. You can see right there's where our storm is located now, re-emerging across the Caribbean. Definitely not well organized, but hey, it is a tropical depression. The forecast does bring it up toward the Yucatan Peninsula, toward the central Gulf of Mexico. So as we talk about what's going on Monday at noontime, we'll have winds of 50 miles an hour. Shortly after this, notice when the icon disappears, that's when the system merges in with a cold front and becomes extratropical, making a hard right. But because of the cone of influence here being anywhere from the Panhandle all the way down toward Cuba, we need to keep a weather eye as far as this storm system goes as we head through the early to middle part of next week. For Friday Fest tonight, it's going on right now. Now, 8 o'clock, fireworks are going on, so grab the family right after the newscast, of course, and head on down to Friday Fest. Temperatures will be falling down through the 60s. You'll definitely want to take a jacket with you as you head out and about. Temperatures now already across the area dropping down through the 50s or down through the 60s into the 50s. As far as one of the events going on tomorrow morning, we have the Ironman Florida. You are probably a better person than I if you're waking up that early to swim a couple miles and then bike 100 or so. And why don't you go ahead and run 26 miles when you're done. We'll see temperatures into the 70s. Actually will be great weather for the event going on for the Ironman Florida. As far as another great event going on, that's going to be going on down in Apalachicola. That event is going to be the Seafood Festival. Perfect weather anticipated for that. Tracy Lawrence is going to be taking the stage, a country singer there. $5 is all it's going to cost you tomorrow for the Seafood Festival down Apalachicola. Again, great weather going to be anticipated there as well. Maybe you're not going to do anything but hang out at the beach. Well, we have green flags for Bay County, Walton, and Okaloosa counties. Looking at yellow flags, UV index is at a 6. Tonight's forecast right around 50 degrees. Take a jacket if you're heading out and about. High temperatures tomorrow into the upper 70s. Your VIPIR 7-day forecast. Again, all of this predicated on what happens with our friend Ida. Although maybe we should not call her a friend. Well, she maybe goes down to another part of Florida. We'll say that's okay. But right now, too early to say with the Panhandle, although right now it's kind of looking like it's going to head away from us. But we'll continue to keep you posted through the weekend.
All right, we'll count on it.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, the SEC is reaching into Urban Meyer's wallet. Scott tells us why in a minute.
And it previews tonight's huge game between Liberty and Blountstown.
Weather is brought to you in part by the Disaster Response Team.
It happens.
Now, News Channel 7 Sports with Scott Rossman.
Well, it's just about time for area prep football teams to be back on the field. It is week 10 of the season. There's no game bigger than the one taking place tonight in Blountstown. The Tigers 4-0 in 1A District 2, hosting 3-1 Liberty.
Liberty's a very, very good football team on both sides of the ball. They got some really good skill players. Their quarterback really does a good job running their offense, running the VIPIR. They've got good fullback, some good wings. They're a very good football team on the offensive side and defensively, very stingy.
They're a big, fast, physical team. They have some really good players, a lot of speed, a lot bigger than we are. It's kind of funny. Everybody talks about how big we are, but we actually only start one player that weighs over 200 pounds on offense. We're not very big, and they're a big team, so we're gonna have to play real tough up front to play with them.
Kickoff at Blountstown at the top of the hour. Here's the list of games set for our area tonight. The icon shows you what games we're shooting for overtime. Arnold, Rutherford, Choctaw hosting. Bay on the road. Chipley at Catholic with the 2B1 title on the line. South Walton, Freeport, Bozeman, Vernon, Blountstown, Weewahitchka, West Gadsden, Graceville, and Rocky Bayou all hosting their ball games. Again, Friday night overtime comes your way around 10:15. Now back to last night and why Fort Walton Beach is in a very good spot in terms of the state playoffs. The Vikings getting 2 long TD runs by sophomore T.C. Carter as they beat Mosley 23-6 Thursday at Tommy Oliver. That leaving the Vikings 5-3 overall, 2-1 in 4A2 play. If Niceville beats Crestview tonight, Fort Walton is the district runner-up. If Crestview pulls off the upset, It's a three-way tie for first and second between Niceville, Fort Walton, and Crestview. That would force a Monday playoff. Well, there's big news from the SEC tonight. It's fined Florida coach Urban Meyer $30 grand for some comments he made in his Monday press conference. He said the refs missed a late hit call on Tebow in the Georgia game. That coming in the wake of a warning last week from SEC Commissioner Mike Slive to stop criticizing officials publicly. This is the second largest fine ever dished out by the league. Annual Ironman Florida, which is set for tomorrow. About 2,500 racers have converged on PC Beach to take part in the 2.4-mile swim, the 112-mile bike, and 26.2-mile run, or a full marathon. The athletes have come from 47 different countries in all 50 states. About 1,000 of them will be racing here for the first time. We spoke with some of the athletes yesterday as they went through registration about why they chose to race Ironman Florida.
You know, my sister raced last year, so I thought it was a great event. I volunteered here at the information booth and kind of got sucked into it, and so here I am.
What is it about this race that you like?
It's very fast. It's a very fast bike strike. I like that. So I'm specialized to be fast on the bike, so that's why I'm coming here to make a very fast time.
Well, what brings you to Northwest Florida this weekend?
Look at the sun. See that thing in the sky? That nice warm thing, and the Ironman, obviously. But trying a new course. It's my 7th Ironman, so my wife and I came down for the weekend and gonna have a nice time.
What do you expect out of yourself come Saturday?
Just to finish, have fun. I've done 13 of them, and sometimes you have a great race, sometimes you don't. Just to finish.
Ludmilla, originally from Brazil, now a professor at West Florida. Here are the courses: the swim and the golf behind the boardwalk, a 1.2-mile loop. They'll do it twice. The bike course goes up Highway 79 east across 20 down 231, 388 back to 79. The run course works its way east on Surf up to South Lagoon, then to the State Park and back. Avoid these areas if at all possible, believe me. One JUCO final to pass along. Lady Commodores open with a win at the Chipola Classic. Alyssa Bennett with 18. And the fishing game forecast brought to us by Half Hitch Tackle. Good to excellent conditions from about midnight to 6 a.m., peaking around 3. That's going to do it for me. Tom and Niece will be back in just a minute.
Closed captioning is brought to you in part by Hairbenders.
What'll I do now?
If you have fire, water, mold, or storm damage, you need a cleanup specialist. So call Disaster Response Team. Disaster cleanup is all we do. We respond fast with certified technicians and equipment. Disaster Response Team, the trusted expert for over 40 years.
I control what goes on in my house, but I can't control the internet. That's why I'm glad Alan Boyd's looking out for us. Alan's passed new laws protecting children from sexual predators and getting tough on child abductors. And to crack down on child pornography, Alan's passed 2 new laws. Because there are some things kids just need to be protected from.
Congressman Alan Boyd, while Washington argues, he's getting things done for North Florida.
I'm Alan Boyd, and I approve this message.
Our kids are safer today because of Alan Boyd.
At Fohan Furniture, we understand every dollar counts. We've been around longer than most people can remember. And being family-owned and operated for well over 50 years, we'll stand by our tradition of quality furniture, great prices, unmatched customer service.
And our oldest tradition, free delivery within 100 miles. You'll also be amazed by Fohan's clearance items specially priced every day.
So make every dollar count at Fohan Furniture, where you always get more for your money, on Harrison Avenue, Panama City.
The bomb, the firecracker, the quarter-pound little thick burger, only at Hardee's. This ad submitted by a Hardee's customer at littlethickburger.com.
Well, if you're around Lucille Moore Elementary School today, certainly you would have been proud to have been an American. 575 little patriots celebrated what they call Patriots Day there, which began first thing in the morning with announcements. Nisa and I were invited to be a part of the program, got a chance to do some real television over there.
Well, then it was outside for a trip around the country. The students and staff placed small flags with their names on the states where they were born. That was a fun part. The main Patriots Day program, though, took place in the school's multi-purpose room, with each class singing patriotic songs phones, along with watching a flag folding demonstration from the Mosley Junior ROTC cadets and learning what it means to be a real patriot.
Had a good time out there. Thanks for inviting us.
It was a lot of fun.
Okay, your weather forecast great through the weekend. We're watching Ida right now. Too early to say, but it looks like it may stay to our south. We'll keep you posted.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having us in for news tonight.
And we'll see you back here tonight at 10. Good night.
Millions of lost jobs.